Another crisis he won't take responsibility for. The West is literally on fire, and he blames the people whose homes and communities are burning. He says, quote, "You gotta clean your floors, you gotta clean your forest." This is the same president who threw paper towels on the people of Puerto Rico instead of truly helping them recover and rebuild. We know his disdain for our own military leaders and our veterans. Just last year, the Defense Department reported that climate change is a direct threat to more than 2/3 of the military's operationally critical installations. That's what the military warned him. And this could well could be a conservative estimate. Donald Trump's climate denial may not have caused these fires and record floods and record hurricanes, but if he gets a second term, these hellish events will continue to become more common, more devastating, and more deadly. And meanwhile, Donald Trump warns that integration is threatening our suburbs. It's ridiculous. But you know what is actually threatening our suburbs? Wildfires are burning the suburbs in the West. Floods are wiping out suburban neighborhoods in the Midwest. Hurricanes are imperiling suburban life along our coast. If we have 4 more years of Trump's climate denial, how many suburbs will be burned in wildfires? How many suburban neighborhoods will have been flooded out? How many suburbs will have been blown away in superstorms? If you give a climate arsonist 4 more years in the White House, why would anyone be surprised if we have more America ablaze? If you give a climate denier 4 more years in the White House, why would anyone be surprised when more of America is underwater? We need a president who respects science, who understands that the damage from climate change is already here. Unless we take urgent action, it will soon be more catastrophic. A president who recognizes, understands, and cares that Americans are dying, which makes President Trump's climate denialism, his disdain for science and facts, all the more unconscionable. Once again, he fails the most basic duty to a nation. He fails to protect us from the pandemic, from an economic freefall, from racial unrest, from the ravages of climate change. It's clear that we're not safe in Donald Trump's America. This is Donald Trump's America. He's in charge. What he doesn't get is that even in a crisis, there's nothing beyond the capacity of the American people when we stand up and act together. And while so many of you are hurting right now, I want you to know that if you give me the honor of serving as your president, we can and we will meet this moment with urgency and purpose. We can and we will solve the climate crisis, and we'll build back better than we were before. You know, when Donald Trump thinks about climate change, he thinks hoax. When I think about it, I think jobs. Good paying union jobs that put Americans to work, building a stronger, more climate resilient nation. A nation modernized. We have modernized water and transportation systems. An energy infrastructure to withstand the impacts of extreme weather and changing climate. When Donald Trump thinks about renewable energy, he sees windmills somehow as causing cancer. I see American manufacturing, American workers racing to lead the global market. I see farmers making agriculture the first in the world to achieve net zero emissions, and in the process, gaining new sources of income. When Donald Trump thinks about LED light bulbs, he says he doesn't like them because the lights are no good. They always make him look orange. I see small businesses and master electricians designing and installing award-winning energy conservation measures, rebuilding buildings across the country. This is going to reduce electrical consumption and save businesses hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in energy cost. While he turns against our allies, I'll bring us back into the Paris Agreement. I'll put us back in the business of leading the world on climate change. And I'll challenge every other country to up the ante on climate commitments. Where he reverses the Obama-Biden fuel efficiency standards, he picks big oil. He picks big oil companies over American workers. Even when the automobile industry agreed, I'll not only bring the standards back, I'll set new ambitious ones that our workers are ready to meet. I'll also see American workers building and installing 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations along our newly engaged infrastructure programs and highways all across the country. I see American consumers switching to electric vehicles through rebates and initiatives. Not only that, the United States owns and maintains an enormous fleet of vehicles. And we're going to harness the purchasing power of our federal government to make sure we're buying electric vehicles that are made and sourced by union workers right here in the United States of America. And together, this will mean more than 1 million new jobs in the American auto industry. You know, and we'll do another big thing. It will put us on a path to achieving a carbon pollution-free electricity sector by 2035 that no future president can come along and turn back. Transforming the electrical sector power to produce power without carbon pollution. It'll be the greatest spur to job creation and economic competitiveness in the 21st century. Not to mention the positive benefits to our health and our environment. We need to get to work right away. We'll need scientists at the national labs and land-grant universities, historic black colleges and universities to improve and innovate technologies needed to generate, store, and transmit this clean electric. We need engineers to design and workers to manufacture these new products. We'll need iron workers and welders to install them. We'll need to become the world's largest exporter of these technologies, creating even more jobs sourced in America. We know how to do this. The Obama-Biden administration rescued the auto industry and helped them retool. We made solar energy cost competitive with traditional energy and weatherized more than 1 million homes, which is just the beginning if we get reelected. And we'll do it again, bigger and faster and better than before. We'll also build 1.5 million new energy-efficient homes and public housing units that will benefit our communities and 3 times over by eliminating the affordable housing crisis, by increasing energy efficiency, and by reducing the racial wealth gap linked to home ownership. There are thousands of oil and natural gas wells that oil companies and gas companies have abandoned, many of which are leaking toxins. We can create 250,000 jobs now by just plugging those wells right away. Good union jobs for energy workers. This will help sustain communities and protect them from the environmental damage as well. We'll also create new markets for our family farmers and ranchers. We'll launch a new modern civilian climate corps to heal our public lands and make use of us less vulnerable, make us much less vulnerable to wildfires and floods. I believe that every American has a fundamental right to breathe clean air and drink clean water. And I know that we haven't fulfilled that right yet. That's true of the millions of families struggling with the smoke-created devastation of the wildfires right now. But it's also been true for a generation or more in places like Cancer Alley in Louisiana, or right here in Delaware along the Route 9 corridor, right here in Delaware. fulfilling this basic obligation to all Americans, especially in low-income white, black, brown, and Native American communities who too often don't have the clean air and the clean water. It's not going to be easy, but it's necessary. And I'm committing to get it done. These aren't pie-in-the-sky dreams. These are concrete, actionable problems that create American jobs, mitigate climate change, and put our nation on the road to net zero emissions by no later than 2050. You know, some say we can't afford to fix this. But here's the thing. Look around at the crushing consequences of the extreme weather events I've been describing. We've already been paying for it. So we have a choice. We can invest in our infrastructure to make it stronger, more resilient, improving the health of Americans and creating millions of good-paying jobs, while at the same time tackling the root causes of climate change. Or we can continue down the path Donald Trump has us on, a path of indifference, costing tens of billions of dollars to rebuild, when the human cost, the lives and the livelihoods and the homes and the communities destroyed are immeasurable. We have a choice. We can commit to doing this together because we know that climate change is the existential challenge that's going to determine our future as a country for our children, our grandchildren, and our great-grandchildren. Or we can do it Donald Trump's way. Ignore the facts, deny reality, which amounts to a full surrender and a failure to lead. It's backward-looking politics that's going to harm the environment, make communities less healthy, and hold back economic progress while other countries race ahead. And it's a mindset that doesn't have any faith in the capacity of the American people to compete, to innovate, and to win. Like the pandemic, dealing with climate change is a global crisis. And that requires American leadership. It requires a president for all Americans. So as the fires rage out west on this day, our prayers remain with everyone under the ash. I know it's hard to see the sun rise, believing today will be a better day than yesterday. Americans face this historic inflection point, a time of real peril, but also a time of extraordinary possibilities. I'm confident. I know we can do this. We will do this. This is the United States of America. We've seen the light through the dark smoke. We never give up. Always, without exception, every time, we succeed when we try. May God bless our firefighters and keep them safe, and our first responders. May God protect our troops. Thank you very much. I'm anxious to hear what the President had to say. Thank you.